like, subscribe to the channel. If we have not already crossed that 25,000 subscriber threshold, we are super very close. So tell the word, spread the word, tell a friend, tell your mother, tell your grandmother. You know they live
Preach
on
the
YouTube.
word.
Preach the word. I know we have news, but actually, I'm so sorry because Jackie's here. I'm like, oh, I got it. Jackie, I have another question. Jackie got more questions, and now I have questions about different things, Jacqueline,
Okay, I
because
hope I have an answer.
what happened at the Kremlin last week, Jacqueline? What happened? They let the chopper sing. They sent a drone after Vladi, and I seen Dmitry Medvedev get on TV talking shit. He was like, "Whoever the fuck wanted, bring it." And I said, "Oh shit, is it really going down in Russia?" And American media is just like, "We don't even know what happened. What happened over there? We don't even know." What happened? What happened? Is Vladi okay? Is
He's
everybody all right?
he's fine. He's all right. There ain't nothing happened. So it appears that, well, not it appears. Yes, there was a drone, an unapproved, unsanctioned drone that entered into a restricted Russian airspace, flew over the Kremlin. Um, it was destroyed by Kremlin defenses because they, it's the Kremlin, just like the White House has uh snipers and stuff on the roof. They do. Kremlin has the other, um this is what I think. I believe, now I could be completely wrong, and I really don't have anything to base this on other than my belief that the US government does not want to instigate a direct confrontation with Russia. This proxy war using Ukraine against Russia is how the US is trying to weaken Russia. They do not, the US government, I won't say the US government, the Pentagon, the people who actually wage war, who have been in wars, who don't have a problem, fomenting coups and that type of stuff, but who really do not want to get mired down in a hot war with Russia because they know the history of World War II, and Russia losing what is it, 25 million, up to
Million.
30 million people, defeating that. They understand they do not want that smoke from Russia. It will not be nice. The US government, Biden and the State Department, these soft neocons who haven't even had a difficult discussion with racists, let alone fought in a war. They don't care. But I think the Pentagon is very clear that they don't want to instigate a hot war with Russia. So I don't think the US approved this little drone attack. I think this was Zelensky on his own. And I think that Zelensky has been kind of going off script a little bit with a few things. I think that he is, I think he's kind of pissing the policymakers in Washington off. That he
You sure?
is,
'Cause didn't they just send them 300 more million dollars?
well,
They just
they're not pissing, he's not pissing them off so much that they're because see, eventually what's gonna happen is that the United States is going to walk away from this situation in Ukraine. It may not be this year, it may not be next year, but this is the new Afghanistan. And meaning that that's how this is going to end. That there's not going to be, Ukraine is going to be, there's not going to be a Ukraine left. And the United States
hmm.
government is not going to care. The EU is not going to care. They're all going to walk away. And Ukraine is going to be, it's going to be another Syria. It's going to be another Yemen. It's going to be another Afghanistan. Um, you know, but I really think that this was just Zelensky, outside of any direction from the U.S. I'm not going to say the U.S. government didn't know. I think they did know, but I don't think they directed him to do it. I think he did it on his own, and we see how that, because see, assassinating Russian political leaders, that's actually that's what the Ukrainian government does. That's what they've been doing. That just hasn't been reported in US media. Ukrainian forces have assassinated several kind of lower level, or attempted to assassinate Russian leaders throughout this conflict. So I think Zelensky just kind of got impatient, got tried to get bigger than his britches, and tried to send a drone to take out Putin. I guess, I don't know. Putin wasn't even in the
Ballsy.
Kremlin, by the way. When Putin was not
Ballsy.
in the Kremlin, he actually usually is not in the Kremlin. He usually does not do, daily business as the Russian head of state in the Kremlin. So I think this was a Zelensky going off script kind of thing. But I'm not going to say that the U.S. government was not aware of it. I just don't think they directed it.
Interesting timing, though, after that US drone, what was it, over the Caspian Sea, where the Russian fighter
Hmm.
jets, downed it into the sea. And it's like, oh, another drone flying over the Kremlin. I mean, I thought it was I definitely thought America had a hand in it. If not themselves directed Zelensky to do. I mean, I really don't know, but I just thought it was, I'm like, this is kind of major news that the
Hmm.
seat of power in Russia was attacked. I mean, I can't see how it would be any different than a foreign operated drone flying over the US Capitol trying to attack it. Like, it seemed to me like a big deal, but I didn't I was curious what, the media coverage of it obviously was next to nil here in the US, but I was just wondering what the Russian perspective was.
Yeah, I mean, Russia's response is that they take it as the provocation that it was, and they said they believe that the U.S. had a hand in it. I could be entirely wrong. You know, at this point in this mess, doesn't make it. It does make a difference. If Zelensky does something, you might as well say the U.S. did it, because
Yeah.
Zelensky is the U.S.'s tool in this entire thing. So, you know, I don't know. I think that and I say this often, and people don't like to hear it, but I think it's true. The only reason we haven't had World War III at this point, whatever people think that's going to look like, the only reason we're not there yet is because of the restraint of Russian and
Russia.
Chinese leaders. That's the only reason, because this country's government and their proxy governments they're throwing everything against the wall to try to get us to that point. And the only reason we're not at that point is because these other leaders are like, nah,
We
we're
can see
more
the end of
human than you
humanity.
monsters.
Right. Exactly. Mm-mm. As somebody who lives, and Jackie, I'm sure you shared the sentiment. I mean, someone who lives less than 10 miles away from the seat of power in the United States, I too do not want a hot war with Russia, because if they were to drop something comparable on us that we dropped on Japan, oh, it's a
Hiroshima and
wrap.
Nagasaki, done.
It's the with PG County done out here. Southeast DC done out here. Like,